Hello again, this is Doug, the 2-Minute Gardener. Today we're going to talk about how to propagate salvias. I love salvias. They come in so many fun colors and shapes. Great hummingbird plant, really great colorful plant. So we're going to talk about how to propagate them. Now the one we're going to use for this demonstration is Delta Leaf Stage, Salvia neurepia. The reason I picked this one is it's kind of a rare one, tough to find in stores, and I happen to have one that reseeded in my garden about 10 years ago. So every 2 years I love to propagate some more. Here is the mother plant growing in between a plant raised bed and a tree. It's a really tough, wonderful plant, great fragrant foliage. It just gives us great scent. I love using it for filler, for bouquets. Great plants, Salvia neurepia. All right, so an important thing before you start doing all this, you want to make sure that you really soak the plant. You want the herbaceous plant to really have lots of moisture in it. And again, herbaceous salvias tend to do best, the ones that have soft green stems. So make sure you really water it well the day before and then water it again a couple hours before you start doing those cuttings. Next, when you're doing the cuttings, you want to make sure that you're cutting about, I like to do about 12 inches. Something that's going to have 5 or 6 nodes, and I'll explain the nodes in just a second. Also, you want to make sure you have a couple other things. You want to make sure you have a good rooting hormone and some gloves and some good potting soil. Now, the kind of soil I like to use, I like this Miracle Grow garden soil that has a little bit of moisture control. It's a really great one for keeping the roots nice and moist through the entire process of developing these cuttings. So once you get all that together, then you do your cuttings. You want to do it really early in the morning when there's lots of moisture in the plant, and then you get set up. Now, with rooting hormones, it's really important that you wear a glove and mask once you open that container. It's just on the safety recommendation. It is something that can be affecting absorbed through the skin, and it's just you want to use some precautions. Some people are more reactive to it than others. But anyway, always wear a mask and glove when you're handling the rooting hormones. So you have your cuttings, you have them soaking in maybe a pot. That's a nice thing to do to get them real extra hydrated. Pour a little bit of that rooting hormone in the bowl, and then again, 12 inches, you're going to get that bottom stem nice and coated with the rooting hormone. And then you're going to put it in that 1-gallon pot. Again, I like to use 1-gallon pots for my cuttings. And I actually like put 2 stems per pot to then have kind of a nice chance of getting a really good plant out if I have 2 stems, because you're going to have about a 50% failure rate on these stems. That way you're likely to have some good results in the pot as well. So 2 stems to a pot gives you a nice success rate. And once you get it in there, you're going to move those to a nice shady place and keep them moist. Really important. With cuttings, you have to keep them moist for the first couple of months. So here they are, 4 weeks later. They're under the tree. I'm starting to see some good leaf growth, and when I lift it up, the roots have gone all the way to the bottom of the 1-gallon pot. That tells me it's time to bump them up to a 5-gallon pot. So then I get the 5-gallon pot, same potting soil, bump them all up to those 5-gallon pots. Now you can kind of see some of the stems are doing great, some aren't doing so great, and that's to be expected. All right, 3 months after cutting, look at that leaf growth. We're starting to get some really good leaf growth coming up there. Those babies are looking ready. 4 months ready, the roots are going out the bottom of the 5-gallon pot. All right, so our Delta Leaf Sage cuttings are doing great. We have root growth all the way to the bottom of the pot. Now it's time to start trimming the apical buds. See how we have these long stems? I want this plant to get a little bushier. So I want to snip it about 2 nodes down from the top, like that, because what I'm trying to get are more of these axillary growths to bush out and give me a nice bushy salvia. So go down 2 nodes, snip it, and this will lead to more axillary growth on the plant itself. And this is the last step for doing a cutting to get a nice bushy plant that'll have a healthier root system. See how long and lanky this guy is? Definitely want to snip it down. So go down 2 nodes, and you'll get a much bushier plant. So this is basically trimming the apical growth on these growth stems to get nice, good axillary growth. The difference between apical is these long stems have a point that's apical. We want axillary growth because that's what produces more flowers. And that's how you want to get that good axillary growth growing, because that generates the more leaves. More leaves, more roots, happier plant. All right, 1 month after trimming them, it's time for these salvias to find a new home. They're even starting to bloom, these little baby plants. So they're going to bloom a little bit more. I remember I've kept them in the shade these 4 or 5 months to make sure they don't get too dried out. The best time to do this is usually in winter here in Southern California, just because of the timing of my schedule this year. I actually did these in the summertime, but I was able to keep most of them alive. Look how big and healthy all of these are with that wonderful fragrant foliage. So I passed these out to a bunch of clients, put them in a bunch of gardens this fall to really kind of keep spreading the word. I love this plant. Well, that's about all the time we have for today. This is Doug, the 2-Minute Gardener, saying if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to get more of my garden videos. Until next time, this is Doug, the 2-Minute Gardener, saying thanks for watching.